Hello, I'm Julie York, the Family and Community Health Agent for Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service in Upshur County. I am coming to you today to present the Health Talk Express series lesson called Stress, Friend or Foe? Is it or not? So we're going to learn a little bit about stress and whether or not it can be a friend or a foe to you. So this lesson should be under 20 minutes, and I'll try to, I'm going to be going back and forth between two laptops sitting right here. So you'll see me up in the corner of the presentation, but I'm going to share my screen now and get started. All right. The purpose of this talk is basically to learn the basics about stress and how it affects you, and to set a personal pledge for you to practice one stress less strategy every day. So I'll just get started. Stacy Moritz, a married 44-year-old mother of 3 boys, described her life in Portland, Oregon as pretty idyllic. That was until her life changed dramatically 5 years ago when she separated from her husband and was laid off. The biggest blow came when her husband was terribly injured. Cycling home from work, he was hit by a car and dragged 30 feet. While he didn't die, he suffered profound brain injuries that required a very lengthy hospital stay and rehabilitation. Moritz, who stayed with her husband during this time, recalls wondering whether or not he would ever recover. His functional ability at the time was that of an infant, Moritz said. He couldn't speak. He laid in bed, surrounded by netting so he wouldn't fall out. He was in diapers. Miraculously, he continued to improve. During his hospital stay, Moritz remembers that when he turned a corner in his recovery, she said, "I walked into the room with our children and he cried and mouthed the words, 'I love you.'" Moritz said it was just overwhelming. You know, he recognized them. That was the significance of it. He knew who they were. And so that gave us a little bit of hope. After his release from the hospital, Moritz took over her husband's care because she didn't want to put him in a nursing home. It was the right thing to do for him and my children, she explains. That decision could mean years of unrelenting stress for Moritz. This was also the financial stress, or there was also the financial stress caring for her husband. Throughout this difficult time, the chronic stress undermined her health. Moritz said, "My own well-being has taken a back seat just because everyone around me needs me so much." Her high-stress life as a caregiver to both her children and husband caused her to max out her sick leave due to her own illness. Despite this difficult time, she got a full-time job and her husband is now working part-time. She and her husband have divorced, but they are moving on with their lives. So Stacy Morris's story is an example of chronic or long-term stress that over time took a toll on her health. While the stresses we experience may not be this life-altering, uncontrolled stress can affect us both physically and psychologically. So do you think stress is a friend or a foe? And obviously you can't respond here because I'm just making this video for you, but we're just going to go talk about it a little bit. So stress is both a friend or a foe. And it's a friend because some amount of stress keeps us motivated and productive, but too much stress can harm our health. Our stressed out society is a U.S. health problem. The 2014 burden of stress in American studies found that half of the 2,505 participants experienced a major stress event in the past year. 4 in 10, so 43%, reported stressful situations related to health. Death of a loved one was 16%, and work problems at 13% were 2 other leading causes of major stress. And now I'll get coordinated with the right slides. The amount of stress we experience is another cause for concern. The 2007 Stress in America survey showed that adults over 18 describe their stress levels as higher than the level of stress they believe is healthy. Findings show that on a scale where 1 is little or no stress and 10 is a great deal of stress, the average reported stress level was 5.1 for these individuals. In the same Stress in America study, 44% of adults stated their stress levels increased in the last 5 years. Our fast-paced, technology-driven life is a stressful experience. Modern society's stress differs from primitive times. Early man's stress typically involved a life or death situation that required a fight or flight response. Imagine the woolly mammoth or a lion lurking around the corner, and you have a good picture of a hostile environment. For man and animal, fighting or fleeing was a way to survive. Stress has evolved to psychological threats, real or perceived. In the 21st century, we are confronted with work-family issues, caring for aging parents, job loss due to corporate downsizing, and many other problems unknown to prehistoric humans. The stress response helps us survive when we face danger. As humans, we are wired to respond to stress in a fight or flight mode. Yet this is typically not an option in our modern world. Stress is not just an emotion or an unpleasant feeling. It's a complex biological response to a perceived threat. All functions aimed at survival. In a basic explanation, this is what happens to us when we are stressed. The brain processes the signal of a threat or a stressor. This begins in the amygdala and then the hypothalamus. A warning sign is sent to the pituitary gland located in the brain, back here. This gland is a chemical messenger secreting the ACTH hormone to activate the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland releases 3 stress hormones: adrenaline, norepinephrine, and cortisol. The surge of these 3 hormones revs up our body to react to the threat. The physical effects of stress include heart rate increase, sweating, shaking, dilated pupils, bladder relaxation, slow digestion, flushed face, tunnel vision, and a dry mouth. When the threat of danger has passed, the parasympathetic nervous system relaxes our body, returning it to a state of balance that is referred to as homeostasis. The stress can be temporary and linger for a longer time, especially if you're experiencing chronic stress. Our stress can be acute or chronic. Acute or short-term stress is the most common form and is our fight or flight response. This type of stress can be good or bad. A good stress can be a happy event, like a marriage or school starting, can be both ways. Exhilarating run down a ski slope, just any kind of fun, happy, stressful event. I mean, it's going to make yourself go out of the homeostasis level. Bad stresses are life situations that can cause distress, such sitting like in a bumper-to-bumper traffic, driving in Dallas, running late to an appointment, things like that. Episodic acute stress occurs frequently. It occurs particularly in individuals who tend to be worriers, and those who have a type A personality. They're perfectionists. Oftentimes, those who suffer episodic stress resist change. Chronic stress happens when people see no way out of their problem. Traumatic events are usually the basis for chronic stress. Long-term chronic stress will eventually affect a person's health. Research has shown that many diseases are linked to chronic stress, such as depression, cardiovascular disease, HIV and AIDS, asthma, upper respiratory tract infections, weakened immune systems, slow wound healings, herpes, viral infections. Anger, fear, and sadness are emotional responses to stress that can have a negative effect on your cardiovascular system, such as high blood pressure. Increased anxiety and grief have been associated with cardiac events, such as heart attacks. Obesity has also been linked to stress because negative moods may lead to seeking comfort foods. Those make you feel better or eating more when you're upset, but then you feel bad for eating them. Most of these foods are usually high in fat, salt, and sugar, which may cause weight gain. Sleep is also affected by stress. Loss of sleep can make us prone to accidents and interfere with our ability to perform daily activities. It becomes a vicious cycle. So to better understand stress and its effect on our health, let's discuss 4 common myths about stress. So myth 1 is stress is the same for everyone. No. This is common, but it's a misunderstanding. Stress is unique for each individual. What is stressful for one person may not be for another. We can all recall a time when we experienced a stressful event that caused us to have a negative reaction when someone else was undergoing the same thing and they were unaffected. To manage stress, we need to learn what our stress triggers are and how we respond physically and psychologically, so we can have some control over our level of stress. Number 2, stress is always bad for you. No, this is the wrong view. As we discussed earlier, stress is both good and bad. Stress is our human condition. Imagine stress like the tension of a violin string. Too little and the music is dull and raspy, but too much and the music is shrill and the string snaps. The real issue is how we manage our stress. Managed stress makes us productive and happy. Mismanaged stress can affect our health and even kill us. A mild amount of stress is needed for our body to function at its best. Acute stress can even boost our immune system. Chronic, unmanaged stress is toxic to our health and can lead to serious health conditions. Myth number 3, stress is everywhere, so you can't do anything about it. Not so. You can plan your life so stress doesn't overwhelm you. Effectively managing your stress involves setting priorities to work on simple problems first, solving them, and moving on to more complex issues. Stress may appear to be everywhere when you're poorly managing your problem, and prioritizing becomes difficult. Myth number 4, no symptoms, no stress. Again, this is incorrect. Minor symptoms such as headaches, stomach ache, they can't be ignored. These physical signs may indicate that stress is getting out of hand, and we need to address the problem. Identifying strategies to better cope with your stress is critical in handling life's challenges. So how do you respond to stress? Because stress is a normal part of life, managing stress has to be part of your daily lifestyle habits. Learning what are your stressors and symptoms will help you find positive ways to counteract the bad effect of stress so that you can live a balanced, satisfied life. Thinking back to a recent stressful event and how you responded, do any of these behaviors apply to you? I eat to calm down, I work too much, I slow down, I try to do too many things at once, I drink alcohol or smoke to calm down, I rush around but don't get much done, I put off doing the things I need to do. It's like they wrote me down. If any of these behaviors are your typical response to stress, It may mean that you are not dealing with stress as well as you can. Positive, healthy approaches to coping with your stress may be needed, especially to lower your risk for chronic stress. I usually can talk much better than this. So whether it's good or bad stress, we need to control the level of stress we experience. The 2007 Stress in America study shows that today's adults are highly stressed to the point of being unhealthy, and that was 14 years ago. Implementing simple lifestyle changes is a strategy to lower your stress. Okay, so there are many practical strategies to tame your stress. Today, we'll focus on 5 strategies: practicing positive self-talk, engage in physical activity, finding pleasure in doing things that you enjoy, connecting with others, and getting enough sleep. After our discussion, I'd like for you to make a personal pledge to practice a stressless activity, like 1 a week or something a day, and hopefully can start, create a regular habit. Keep in mind that while stress management activities are helpful in many ways, it does not replace any treatment that you may need if you're suffering from chronic stress. If that is you, talk to a doctor. That is a great place to start, and a counselor if you need it. So we're going to begin discussing the 5 stress-less activities. Positive self-talk is number 1. Optimism is important to manage stress. It is looking at a glass half full rather than half empty. And at one point I was told, I read somewhere, where the glass is full, it's just half empty and half full. I mean, it's all full. Part of it is air and part of it is water. So that's another way to think of it. It doesn't mean being in denial about life's unpleasant situations. When you think positively, you can approach unpleasantness in a productive, healthy way. Self-talk is the endless stream of unspoken thoughts that run through your head. These automatic thoughts can be positive or negative. Some of your self-talk comes from logic and reason. Other self-talk may arise from false thoughts you create because of lack of information. When your self-talk is mostly positive, you'll have a healthier outlook on life and attitude toward yourself. This allows you to better cope with stressful situations, which reduce the harmful health effects of stress on your body. So when you catch yourself not giving yourself positive self-talks or finding the positives in situations, rethink your thoughts. All right, be active. I know many of you are on your feet a lot all day, but make sure that you have physical activity because in combination with a stress reduction program, it's extremely important for several reasons. Physical activity is an effective distraction because you're focusing on walking or running or whatever movement you're going to do. You're focusing on that physical activity and your mind is taking a break from the stress. It lowers the harmful effects of stress on blood pressure and the heart. In fact, exercise protects the heart, making it work harder. Physical activity improves the quality of sleep, allowing you to rest better at night. Physical activity also reduces your risk for depression and loss of mental functioning. Virtually any form of exercise is beneficial. Physical activity pumps up your feel-good endorphins and other natural neural chemicals that enhance your sense of well-being. It's researched, it's proven. Exercise is good for you. The third one is find pleasure. When stress makes you feel bad, do something that makes you feel good. Even if you're ill or down, you can find pleasure in simple things, such as going for a drive, chatting with a friend who's positive, not somebody who's going to be a negative influence. And just, you want to have gripe partners, but at some point you have to say, okay, let's find the positives in this situation. We know there's plenty to gripe about. or reading a book, whatever you choose that brings you happiness. Exercising is another pleasurable activity that can provide both enjoyment and relaxation. Connecting with others. When you're stressed and irritable, you likely want to be left alone. Instead, reach out to family and friends and make social connections. You don't have to tell them what all's bothering you, but if you just talk about something, ask what's going on in their life, talk about them, listen to them, give yourself a break from your mental issues that are bothering you, not mental issues, but the issues that are mentally bothering you. A friendship is a great distraction. It's a great medicine because it offers a distraction and provides support to tolerate life's ups and downs. Take a coffee break with a family member or friend, email somebody, visit your place of worship. Another way to connect is to volunteer for a charitable group, which will benefit you while you serve others. Get your Z's. Sleep is necessary for your brain and body to recharge. I tell this to youth all the time. It's like your phone, your cell phone cannot function without being charged. Your body cannot function without being charged. When you're sleep deprived, your mood is affected. You have low energy levels and you're unable to concentrate. With 6 to 8 hours of restful sleep, you're able to function optimally, which includes handling the stresses of the day. Most healthy adults are built for 16 hours of wakefulness and need an hour of 8 hours of sleep a night. And that's probably, I'm going to throw in here, uninterrupted sleep. If you're having trouble getting shut eye you need, make sure you have a quiet, relaxing bedtime routine to slow your body down to prepare to sleep. Listen to soothing music, stick to a regular sleeping schedule. I actually, I have grandchildren and they have those machines that have wave sound or heartbeat or just white noise on them. And there's an app that I put on my phone. So when they come visit, I can put it on them for them and it goes off after like 10 minutes. I use it for me too. And I've never had to turn it off. I'm asleep within 10 minutes. As we've discussed, these 5 stress release activities are ways you can reduce the negative effects of stress. So now is the time to control your stress rather than allowing stress to control you. I would like you to take action this week by setting a goal to practice at least one of those stress management strategies. While there are a number of other strategies to reduce stress, this will put you on the path of a stress-less life. I don't think there is a stress-free life. So I'm going to go backwards. Number 5 was get your sleep. Number 4, connect with others. Number 3, find your pleasure. 2, be active. And 1, positive self-talk. Okay. So adopting the right attitude can convert a negative stress into a positive one. And as you consider your decision to make a stressless goal, what are possible barriers to managing your stress? For many of us, it's a matter of making up your mind that you can do it. Attitude plays a big role in how we manage stress. The father of stress research, Hans Selye, once said, adopting the right attitude can convert a negative stress into a positive one. That holds true for you today. Believing you have the power to change is the positive attitude you need to make healthy choices. Adopting one or all of these 5 stress management activities is a way to feel empowered. For example, positive thinking allows you to reframe your views in a more constructive way rather than giving in to harmful emotions like anger and sadness. Nurturing yourself is part of stress management. Reflecting on Stacey Moritz's story, her word of caution was that her health took a back seat during her husband's recovery. Even when life gets hectic, simple things like a yoga class, taking a long walk, reading a book, those are things to make your health a priority. For women who tend to spend more time taking care of others, it may be hard to satisfy your needs. However, in the end, you'll end up being a better caregiver if you take care of yourself. We cannot overlook the mind-body connection of our health. When life gets overwhelming, managing our stress is a feel-good remedy to boost our emotional well-being and mentally recharge. As I described earlier, chronic stress takes a toll on a person's health. Reducing the toxic effects of stress is a main benefit of engaging in positive lifestyle habits. These 5 activities do not require any skills and are doable for everyone. You can teach them to teenagers, middle schoolers, young children. Pretty much anybody can learn these. For Stacey Moritz, her chronic stress eventually affected her health. Caring for her seriously injured husband and having school-aged children put unusual emotional demands on her. Many of us, may not experience a traumatic event like Stacey, but her situation is a reminder that uncontrolled stress can have health consequences. I apologize. I normally can talk much better. Health-enhancing behaviors like diet and physical activity can protect people from disease. For example, there's a strong evidence showing that eating healthy and exercising can minimize the conditions that cause cardiovascular disease and cancer. Protecting your brain is another reason to better manage stress. There's research showing that specific areas of your brain can be damaged by chronic stress. For example, the hippocampus is an organ in the back of your brain that plays a role in processing emotions. Chronic stress can impair the hippocampus, causing it to lose its ability to shut down the stress syndrome. Neuroimaging studies of people with severe depression and anxiety disorders have shown that their hippocampus has shrunken in size. The good news is the brain can heal, and this effect is reversible. Managing our stress is critical to maintain a strong immune system as well as brain. An interesting fact about stress is that it can be good and bad for our immune system. During acute stress, our immune system is able to move immune cells to areas of the body where it is needed to defend a pathogen or disease-causing agent, such as viruses or bacteria. However, with chronic stress, our immune system is suppressed and unable to prevent disease, which makes us prone to illness. Aside from preventing potential harm from chronic stress, stress management activities offer other advantages. Positive thinking changes your outlook on life and increases your ability to handle stressful situations. Physical activity is a way to relax when you feel stress building up. As we discussed earlier, exercising increases our body's production of feel-good endorphins, a type neurotransmitter in the brain. Engaging in pleasurable activities can bring satisfaction and contentment. Accepting help from family and friends is a way to build a support system that can get you through difficult times. Getting enough sleep will energize you to function well during the day and be mentally alert to deal with stressful events. Understandably, there are times when stress keeps us up at night, but with good health habits, we can better cope with the stress so we're able to sleep. In summary, preventing illness, maintaining a high level of functioning, and making our health a priority are all the rewards of managing stress. Research is strong that chronic stress can kill us. Managing day-to-day stress is a way to avoid chronic stress. Starting today, you can take action to be in control of your stress. Make it your personal pledge to reduce stress this week by practicing at least one of the stressless activities. You will receive a handout that was attached to this lesson, hopefully, which describes the 5 stress management activities. On the reverse side is a small log to check the days you complete the strategy. Also on the reverse side of the handout is a 1-week stress log to monitor what are your stressors and your reactions. This resource is a practical way to learn how stress affects your life. With this information, you can identify stress management strategies to address problem areas. For example, you may find that running late is a stress trigger. Time management strategies, such as making a to-do list and prioritizing tasks, can be a possible solution. Because of the importance of controlling stress, we encourage you to share this resource with your family and friends because the information will also benefit them. As you consider making a stress-less personal pledge, reflect on the words of Subodh Gupta, author of Stress Management, A Holistic Approach, who said, "The majority of people who are easily stressed are the ones who think too much about the problems instead of solutions. Always focus on solutions." Thank you so much for your time and attention, and please complete the survey after watching this. And if you have any questions, you can email me at julie.york, Y-O-R-K, at ag for agriculture, .tamu for Texas A&M University, .edu for education. So julie.york at ag.tamu.edu. Thank you very much. And I'm going to close this. For some reason. There we go.